Hello children, this is the first lesson I am going to teach you in 8th class. Okay, I just told you some introduction part 1 how it will be. So just now I want to continue. First let us go with the characters. Who are the characters in this lesson? Okay, first Michael Morpurgo. He is the narrator. In the lesson when you read you will get I everywhere. Okay, he is the narrator of the lesson as well as he is the author also. So he is narrating the story. What had happened, everything, he is narrating the story. Okay, next, a person who tells the story is called the narrator. Okay, next, who is the second one? Jim Macpherson. This is the main character. He is the main character. He was the leader of his English troop. Before getting into war, he was a teacher in Dorset, present in the west part of England. Actually, who is Jim Macpherson is, in this story we have two troops, two army troops, one from the British and one from the German. Okay, so for the British troop, for the British army, he is the leader. Who is the leader? Jim Macpherson. He is the captain, he is the leader, he will lead the army. Okay, and next, he is from Dorset. Before he used to work in as a English before he used to work as a school teacher, and later he joined in the army. Okay, who is he? Jim Macpherson. For which army troop he is the leader? For British army. Okay, next, where is Dorset? In the west part of England. Next, what about his personality development? Let us see. By reading this story we can understand that he was a brave, kind and open-hearted person. He was such a nice person. Okay, next, he was leading his troop. He was the captain of the troop. He shared his time and happiness with enemy. However the enemy went on, he also shared his happiness with the enemy. How did he share? We shall know later. Okay, he was also a loving and caring person. We can know this by his letter. How do we know that he is a loving and caring person? Because he wrote a letter to his wife. He was much worried of his wife. He expressed his feelings to his wife. With that letter we can know that he loves his wife very much. He is a very nice person. Okay children, now you got the idea of Michael Morpurgo and Jim Macpherson. Jim Macpherson was the leader for the British army. Okay, next, Connie Macpherson. Okay, Connie Macpherson is also called Mrs. Jim Macpherson. Okay, she was the wife of Jim Macpherson. Connie, she was the wife of Jim Macpherson. After her husband went to war, she spent her whole life in a belief that she will see him again. One day what happens? Children, you know about the army people. We know. See, they leave their wives, children, parents, all their family persons and they go for the war. The army is the best profession in this world, I feel. Why? Because no profession has that much tension whereas the army people have. No profession is equal to army. Why I want to say one thing is, see, you are a doctor, if your daddy may be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer or a teacher, whatever may be, they spend early morning, they go to the job and they spend remaining day with the wife and children, family members. One or the other day, if today they were in the camp, the next day or after 2 days, they come back to their houses and they spend with the family. But whereas army is not like that. They go for 6 months, 8 months, years, and we don't know whether they return back or not. Until they return back, we all will be in tension, isn't it? We all will be in tension. The family will be in the tension. What happened? How is he? Suppose take one son, take one husband, take one father. When the father goes for a army, when he goes for a war, whether he returns safely or not, children will be in tension, wife will be in tension whether my husband returns back safely or not, and mother, parents will be in tension whether our son returns back or not. That is a very nice and emotional moment. Whatever marriages are there, functions are there, family functions, whatever may be, when the order comes, The army people must leave their family and go. That is the very toughest profession in the life. Okay, so in that way, the Connie waits for her husband. My husband will return, my husband will return, I will see him again, I will see him again. See children, for 1 or 2 days your daddy goes out. Until he returns, daddy, where are you? Come back fast, come daddy, come soon. You go on asking, you go on phoning to your parents, you go on phoning to your father. Daddy, come back. The daddy, come back, come back. When are you coming? When are you starting? What are you bringing for me? You ask many questions. But what about the people who goes for a war? Can we ask like that? We can ask, when are you coming back, daddy? When are you? Then what daddy will give reply? Yeah, I will come, beta. I'll come, I'll come, I'll come. But when he comes, how he comes, whether he comes or not, we don't know, isn't it? So such is the life of the people who goes for a war. Here she waits for her husband, that her husband will come on Christmas Day. He went for a war and he returns again back on Christmas Day. That if he returns back, that will be the best gift for me. She doesn't expect any money or any saris or any jewelry, anything as a gift. She only expects husband coming safe, husband returning safe to her. She wants the returning of her husband safely. That was the only gift which she wants. Next, one day when her husband goes for a war, what happens is suddenly after few days, after few days, a fire breaks into her house. How does a fire broke means, actually in those days during First World War, those days the electricity was very expensive, it was too expensive, so she can't bear that expensiveness of electricity and she uses candles in her house, and accidentally the candle splits and fire breaks out into the house, and she was partially burned with that fire. She was partially burned, some of her body parts burnt, and she will be taken to nursing home by the neighbors of the house, and the neighbors will take her and keep her in the nursing home. She will be in a conservatory room. She will be kept safe in a conservatory room. She will be on the wheelchair waiting for her husband. Okay, now her age is 101 years. Okay, this is about Connie Macpherson. Mrs. Jim Macpherson is also okay. Her name, okay, we can call it. Next, Hans Ulf. Hans Ulf was the captain of German troop. I told there are two troops here, isn't it? One from British troop, one from German troop. From British troop, who is the leader? Jim Macpherson. Now Hans Ulf is the leader for German troop. Okay, he played the cello in the orchestra. In orchestra you have different items, isn't it? In that he used one item very nicely. Okay, what is that item? Cello. You can see the picture later. Next, he is from Dusseldorf. Though he never set a foot in Dorset, he spoke English well. See, this person, Hans Ulf, was a very nice person. He never entered to Dorset. Okay, he did not go to England or English places any time. But still then, he speaks English very well. How did he speak English very well? How did he learn English very well? He learned from books, and he learned in his school. In every school you have some languages, special language taught, French, German, English, okay, Chinese. So in his school also, in German schools, they taught English. So he learned. In school there was one subject, English, for him. So he learned through that. Okay, he learned English from school and as well as from reading English books. Okay, next, his famous writer was Thomas Hardy, and his favorite book was Far from the Madding Crowd. He used to read many English books, and his famous writer was Thomas Hardy. And what was his favorite book? Far from the Madding Crowd. Next, if we talk about his nature, we talked about the Jim Macpherson. He was very kind-hearted and open-hearted person and all. And in the same way, Hans Wolf is also a very nice person. He was very friendly and he first insisted to make friendship with English. At the time of First World War, he wanted to make friendship with the English. He only first insisted. Okay, you can know later. Next, he had love for football and also an adventurous mind. He loved football. He played football and he loved that game very much, and he was an adventurous mind. Whatever he thought, he want to do it. He want to gain it. Okay, he was of that type. Hello children, I think you understood the characters. Who are the characters? Narrator, the first one, Michael. Okay, next you leave it Michael, he is the narrator now. Okay, let us leave it aside. Now who is the next? Jim Macpherson. He is the leader for the British Army. Next, Connie Macpherson. She is also called Mrs. Jim Macpherson. Okay, she is the wife of Jim Macpherson. Next, the third one is Hans Wolf. Okay, these three are the main characters which we are going to talk now. Okay, now let us go to the part 1. I already explained you the part 1 introduction. So again, let us recall it. What is our title? The Best Christmas Present. This story mentions one such date and event. What is that event? Can you tell children? Here, the event is a war. A war between whom? British and the Germans. In which year? In the year 1914. Which war was that? Can you guess which war was? It was the First World War between the British and Germans. So this story has 3 parts, part 1, 2 and 3. Now let us go for the part 1. Okay, in this part 1, what happens is, once the narrator wants to buy a rolling top desk, so he goes to a junk shop to buy the desk. So when he goes to the junk shop, he sees all the desks were too expensive, very nice designed, and they were too expensive. Then he doesn't want to waste the amount, so he just see here and there, okay, these are too expensive, I shall buy one desk. How should I buy? What should I buy? He'll be just observing. Then suddenly he spots out one desk that is totally awkward, that was totally in a bad way, clumsy, in a bad condition. Then he asked, the narrator asked, sir, he asked the shopkeeper, sir, I want this desk, what does it cost? Then the shopkeeper says that, oh, that is in a bad condition, you can take it with a little amount, you can give little amount and take that desk if you want, the shopkeeper says. Then he pays little amount to the shopkeeper and he brings back the desk to his house. He leaves the desk in the garage, back of the garage, and he wants to repair it. Why did he buy that old desk? Because he wants to repair it and make it new. So in that idea, he purchases the old desk and he brings to his house and leaves back in the garage. And on Christmas Eve, he starts repairing that. Now see here. And when he starts repairing that, he opens the first drawer. The desk will be having 3 drawers. First drawer he opens, second drawer he opens. When he tries to open the third drawer will be stuck fast. It will be not coming. He uses his force, he uses the wrist force, and he uses his fist and he drags it, pulls out very harshly. Then the third drawer comes out. When the third drawer comes out, he sees another small drawer, space in the other small drawer in the third drawer. And he sees that there is one small black tin box in the small drawer. Then he takes out the small black tin box. When he opens the tin box, there will be one envelope. There will be one letter inside the cover. He takes out that envelope and he reads the address. And inside that envelope there will be one letter. First he scribbles himself. Scribbles means he thinks, shall I read this letter or not, read or not. The letter, scribbles means what? Hesitating to do bad. Shall I do or not, shall I do or not. Okay, so he scribbles, if I do or not, what will happen. He thinks like that, and he takes out that letter and he reads the letter. Okay, what is in that letter? Who wrote that letter? To whom? Let us see. Now just I'll recall. The first part is about the narrator. Who does this work? Narrator. Let us see. Once the narrator goes to the junk shop in the Bridport. He wanted to buy a roll top desk, but the desks were too expensive. The narrator spots out another desk which was in a bad condition. Next, the leg of the desk was clumsy means awkward, it was mended, and also scorch marks. There were scorch marks means burnt marks. Okay, burnt marks were there. It was of less cost. See, the desk is of very bad condition, so the shopkeeper gave for little amount. So the narrator purchases it, thinking that he could restore it later. Restore means repair it. Okay, after going house I can repair it, let me buy for little amount. He thinks in that way, and he brings the desk to his house. Next, he began to work on Christmas Eve. He starts working on that. He starts repairing it. He pulled out the drawers, but the last drawer was stuck fast. He used brute force and opened it. Then there was another secret drawer inside it. See here, another secret drawer inside it. Inside the last drawer, he also opened the other one. Next, the narrator found a small tin box in it. It was sellotaped, and to the top of it was a piece of paper written in shaky handwriting. See, there was some address written in shaky handwriting. What was it? See here, that Jim's last letter received January 25th, 1915, in the year 1915, to be buried with me when the time comes. The dialogue was written. This quotation was written on the letter, and that too letter was written with shaky hands. Whom do you think this one might have written? This dialogue, this quotation was written by Connie, Mrs. Jim Macpherson. Okay, after reading the letter, she told that, bury this letter along with me. When I die, bury this letter also. So whose letter was that? Jim Macpherson. Who was Jim? Husband of Connie wrote this letter, and she wrote this after reading this letter. She felt that let it be buried when the time comes. He opens the box, and there was an envelope, the address. Okay, what was the address here? December 26th. To Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. This was the address. This address was written by Jim Macpherson. To whom? To Mrs. Jim Macpherson. Who is Mrs. Jim Macpherson? Connie. Okay, this was written to Connie, and Connie read the letter, and she wrote one dialogue there. Okay, whoever reads the letter, they should bury that letter also. When she dies, along with her dead body, she wants the letter also to be buried. Okay, that was the first part. I think you have understood. Next I'll continue the next part of the lesson in the next video, children. Okay, bye.